I thought my backyard was safe whenever I traveled for work. My home was locked, my security system was active, and everything seemed secure. I had no idea that someone was treating my backyard like their private vacation resort. The truth would completely shock me. While I was hundreds of miles away on business, the HOA board had their own plans. They invited themselves into my backyard. Without permission, they lounged by my pool as if they owned the place. None of them expected to get caught. Fortunately, I had installed several security cameras around the property. They quietly recorded every visitor entering the backyard. At the time, I didn't realize just how important that footage would become. It was all being documented. Somehow, the HOA president gained access to my backyard gate. She walked in as if she had every right to be there. The others followed without asking a single question. They made themselves comfortable almost immediately. They spent the afternoon swimming, relaxing, and enjoying my outdoor space. My patio became the setting for their private gathering. Everything happened without my knowledge. They assumed no one would ever find out. During my trip, I noticed a routine security notification. At first, I assumed it was just a package delivery. I decided to check the live camera feed. That's when everything changed. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Several people were relaxing around my pool. Then I recognized familiar faces from HOA meetings. They were actually using my property. The footage kept getting worse. They were eating, drinking, and treating my backyard like a private club. Nobody seemed concerned about being there. They looked completely comfortable. The HOA president appeared to be hosting the entire event. She welcomed everyone as though she owned the house. Watching it unfold live was almost unbelievable. Every minute was being recorded. I ended my business trip early. There was no way I could ignore what was happening. I wanted answers the moment I got home. They had no idea I was already on my way back. I drove straight home from the airport without telling anyone. Before I even opened the gate, I could hear music and people laughing. That's when I realized the camera footage was completely real. My backyard was full of uninvited guests. I slowly opened the gate without making a sound. Every HOA board member was exactly where the cameras showed them. They looked perfectly comfortable using my property. Nobody noticed me standing there. Finally, someone looked toward the gate. The HOA president's smile disappeared instantly. Every conversation suddenly stopped. Complete silence filled the backyard. I calmly asked one simple question. Can someone explain why you're all in my backyard? Nobody answered immediately. They simply stared at one another. The HOA president finally spoke. She claimed the backyard looked and used while I traveled. According to her, they were simply making good use of it. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I held up my phone. Every visit had been recorded by multiple security cameras. The timestamp showed exactly when everyone entered and left. Suddenly, nobody had much to say. The atmosphere changed immediately. They realized this wasn't based on guesses or accusations. Everything had been documented from beginning to end. The confidence they arrived with quickly disappeared. I carefully inspected the entire backyard. Chairs had been moved. Pool equipment had been used. My private space had clearly become their gathering place. I calmly asked everyone to leave my property. There was no shouting, no argument, just a clear request that my property be respected. One by one, they packed their things. Nobody seemed interested in defending what had happened anymore. The party ended much differently than they expected. The backyard finally became quiet again. That evening, I reviewed every recording carefully. The footage revealed this wasn't their first visit. Similar gatherings had happened while I was away before. The pattern was impossible to ignore. Multiple recordings showed repeated visits over several months. My backyard had become their unofficial meeting place. They simply assumed I'd never notice. Fortunately, technology remembered everything. The very next morning, I upgraded every exterior lock. I also checked every security camera and access point. If someone entered again, I'd know immediately. Prevention is always better than surprises. I decided to improve my home security even further. Additional cameras provided wider coverage. Every entrance and outdoor area was now monitored. My property deserved better protection. A few days later, the HOA president stopped by again. This time, she found locked gates and clearly visible cameras. She quickly realized things had changed. There would be no more surprise visits. I also spoke with several nearby neighbors. A few admitted they had noticed unfamiliar cars parked outside while I traveled. At the time, nobody realized what was happening. Now everything made sense. It felt great seeing my backyard peaceful again. Everything was back where it belonged. The pool was finally being enjoyed only with permission. That's exactly how it should be. For the first time in weeks, I truly relaxed. My backyard felt like home again. Privacy is something you don't fully appreciate until it's violated. I wasn't taking it for granted anymore. Looking back, the situation taught me an important lesson. Good neighbors respect boundaries. Great security protects them. Both are worth investing in. The HOA board never held another gathering in my backyard. My property remained exactly what it should always have been. A private home, not a neighborhood clubhouse. Some boundaries only need be enforced once.